and welcome back to more Spongebob Squarepants Battle for Bikini Bottom, where last time we concluded our adventures in the downtown Bikini Bottom area, and today we're going to be tackling the final section of the first part of Bikini Bottom, which is Goo Lagoon, requiring 10 golden spatulas to access. Let's go ahead and open it up right now. And like I said, this is going to be the last area of the first little area of Bikini Bottom, before we can head into this area and complete our first major boss fight of the game, and then proceed on to the rest of Bikini Bottom. So without further ado, let's take the taxi pad to Goo Lagoon.
Goo Lagoon, a sun-drenched beach of sludge at the bottom of the sea. But all is not well here on Paradise.
Alright, get ready for a day at the beach. Or more like 2 days at the beach, since this, as with all the other areas, we will be spending two episodes in this in Goo Lagoon. You can use the Bubble Bash to move things. Yes, you can. Stand under this platform, press the Y button to flip the platform over. Well, you heard the game. Stand on this little red circle. This is a nice indicator that you need to use the Bubble Bash for something, such as interact with a button or interact with the environment. By doing this, it'll flip the platform over and allow you to extend your jump to reach over this point right here. You can also use the Bubble Bash to hit these tikis, like so. And you may be wondering why the game is making such a big deal about using the Bubble Bash. Well, this is why. This robot is called Monsoon. Watch out for his lightning attack. And as I'm sure you've been able to figure out by this point, because he hovers in the air, the most effective way to attack him is to get underneath him and use the Bubble Bash. And that will be why the game made such a big deal about making sure you understand how Bubble Bash works up until this point. So, that's going to be, Monsoon's going to be a major enemy for this, for Goo Lagoon. But of course it's not the only way to attack him. There will be something we can do later in the game that will allow us to attack him much more easily, but for now, Bubble Bash is your only option. Anyway, at least with SpongeBob, as far as SpongeBob is concerned. Anyway, let's go talk to Larry, see what's up with Larry.
SpongeBob, do I look burned?
Well, you do look a little red.
Barnacles! That darn robot.
Robot?
Yeah, a big robot stole everybody's sunscreen.
Oh no! Everyone will burn, and then they'll get all itchy and peel.
Exactly! You can't spend a day at the beach without sunscreen. That sun is way too hot. That robot is out on the island. Nobody can get to him. SpongeBob, maybe you can use those sun reflectors to point the sun's rays on that robot. If you hit one of the buttons on the side of a lifeguard tower, the reflector will turn. Connect all the towers and the light will shoot right out of the big reflector on the island. Then all you have to do is swim out to the island and turn the big reflector onto the robot. I'll stay here and protect the babes.
But I, can't swim.
Well, you heard him. We're gonna have to flip a lot of switches around in order to actually get these sun rays to reflect in the direction we want them to go. And as I'm sure you've been able to discern, this is basically, or up until this point, has been testing your Bubble Bash abilities, because that's kind of what the game does. It introduces a concept to you, such as the Bubble Bounce or Bubble Bash, and then make sure to reinforce that ability throughout the game, so that you know full well how to use these skills to your advantage, so that when you really need to use them, they come in handy. And I'll be sure to elaborate a bit more about what I mean by that in 2 episodes when we face off against our first major boss battle. But for now, excuse me, we have a puzzle to solve. So, the goal is to reflect all these, choose the correct buttons in order to reflect the sun rays in the direction we want them to go, and the end result is to reflect it in that direction towards the island over there, so that when we eventually get over there, we can reflect it at the robot. Because for now, we can't actually complete this quest in full. The best we can do right now is get it to reflect out to that little tower right there, and then once we actually complete the rest of Goo Lagoon and loop back around to that island, then we'll be able to activate the sun reflector from over there, and then we can use it to knock that robot right off those boxes. But for now, the best we can do is get over there. So how are we going to do that? Well, the sun starts, the sun rays are initially being reflected off of that little thing up there, and they're hitting this tower. So, the first thing we want to do is you want to hit the left button right here, so Bubble Bash into this button right here, which will then cause the sun to be reflected out onto that small island out there. Next, we're going to want to go ahead and head out to that small island, and of course, we basically just need to reflect the sun ray in the direction that we need to in order to hit that hit that robot. But of course, it's not so easy because it's not. None of these will give us a direct line of sight. So we have to connect the towers, as it were, in order to make sure we hit it in the correct direction. So first, you want to hit this left button right here to redirect it over towards that tower to the left. Then we'll head on over there. And we're still not done, even though that is technically the closest tower out of all the ones on the beach. It doesn't give us a direct line of sight to that tower out of the island. So what we have to do instead is redirect it over to that tower to the left. Like, I missed the button, that one's on me. Like this. Then for one final move, we'll head out to this tower, which is the last tower we're going to be able to hit for the time being. And make sure you hit the right switch so that it directs a shot directly at that tower. And there we go, the towers are now all linked up properly, and the sun is being directed at that tower out on the distant island, ready for us to be able to interact with it once we complete the rest of Goo Lagoon. So you won't be, we haven't completed this quest yet, as you can see, we don't have the golden spatula, but we will be coming back to this tomorrow, as I mentioned, we're going to be spending 2 days here in Goo Lagoon. So tomorrow when we make it out to the island, we will complete this task, and conclude Goo Lagoon by getting our golden spatula from Larry for connecting all the towers. Anyway, that's all we can do on the beach. You may have noticed there's actually a sock on top of that tower up there that I kind of skipped past. Because the only way to get it, well, at least the only legit way to get it, is with Patrick. There is a few running glitches you can do to get on top of the tower, but we're going to do this the legit way with Patrick. So here's what you do. You need to switch to Patrick with the bus stop over there, and then head up these steps to get to the top of this little cliff, where you will also encounter a Duplicatotron up there. But of course, that is child's play for Patrick, who can simply walk up to it and bash it like this. Now, the goal here is to jump across all these towers in order to reach the one island on the distant island. And to do that, we need to pick up the watermelon and throw it at the button, which will cause a series of towels to fly out from the beach below. And then we can jump across these towels to reach the tower in the distance, which seems pretty easy for the time being, since they're, just kind of sitting there. But of course, as soon as we hit this button, things are going to start to get a little bit more complex, because the towels are going to start moving back and forth. Still nothing too bad, just, the basic platform challenge. But of course, the challenge isn't done yet, because when we hit the next button, what happens? Now they start spinning in addition to their movement patterns. Or I guess they're not moving and spinning yet. Right now they're just spinning. But for the final challenge, it will combine the spinning and the moving. Some platforms spin, sometimes some platforms move horizontally, and some platforms, like this last one, will move vertically, as in move forward and back instead of left to right. So maybe vertically wasn't the right term to use, because that would mean up and down. But it moves, instead of going left to right, it goes forward and back. Anyway, yeah. So just make sure you wait on that green towel until the blue one moves closer to you. Then you can jump on it and ride it to the tower. Hop off here and grab the sock, just like so. All right. So we're pretty much done with using Patrick for the time being. We will be switching to him again momentarily, or not momentarily, but shortly, I guess is the better term to use. But first, we have a bit of a task to complete with Spongebob, so we're going to head over to the rest of Goo Lagoon right down here. So we're going to jump across these little wood pegs and see that Mrs. Puff is waiting for us over here. What does Mrs. Puff want with us on the beach, you may ask? Let's find out.
The children's balloons have been overfilled. They're carrying the children out of control.
I don't know, Mrs. Puff. It looks like they're having a lot of fun.
Yes, too much fun if you ask me. You can save the children by bubble bashing each of the balloons. Bubble bash all the balloons, then come see me for a reward.
Can do, Mrs. Puff.
Well, you heard her. Just stand underneath the kids. You can judge pretty quickly by where their shadow is, so just stand under the shadow of the balloons, and then bubble bash into them to pop the balloons and cause them to drop down to the ground. Pretty simple challenge, at least initially. Basically, you just gotta wait for the kids to go above you, like this, and then bubble bash into them, like so. I missed, that's fine, because it'll be looping around here momentarily. Just wait for them to go to soar above you, so you can bubble bash underneath them and drop them down to safety. Those two are pretty easy, but this one can be a little bit tricky because the movement patterns are a bit tricky to get down, in addition to the fact that you have to be quick in order to nail them like this. So we got lucky there because we actually got them on a good cycle. They have movement cycles that alternate and rotate every now and again. We got lucky because we ran up to here as the kid was coming to us, but sometimes they can float around a little bit, which makes it a bit hard to get a good read on where they're going, especially because sometimes you have to hit them over these platforms, and these platforms will sink into the ground the longer you stand on them, which makes it much harder to actually get the distance required to bubble bash them. So my advice is just keep an eye on where they're moving and try to predict where they're going to go ahead of them. It's usually pretty clear when they're going to turn towards one of the platforms, so you make sure you want to be on one of the platforms that they're turning towards when they turn towards it, essentially. Once you hit that kid, you can head over to on top of this building right here, and of course bubble bash the monsoon out of the air. Hit the Duplicatotron like so, and drop down on top of this hut to grab yourself a sock. I believe it's called the juice bar. Yeah, grabbing the socks on top of the juice bar. You want to drop down here to grab that. Then hop onto this platform, jump over the cliff, and switch to Patrick once again, because now we have a little bit of a challenge to complete with good old Patrick. And you may remember that I mentioned a couple episodes ago that if you tried to get any Mr. Krabs spatulas until this point, you would not have had enough shiny objects in order to do both that and complete all the challenges in each of the levels. And this is what I was talking about. So the first thing you want to do before we can actually get to the challenge is to grab the 2 stone tikis here, throw them towards the cliff, and then stack them on top of each other, and jump from the tikis on top of the cliff. And now you can see in the distance is a clam that needs 2200 shiny objects. And like I said, if you tried to if you tried to pay off Mr. Krabs with shiny objects, you would not have enough to complete this challenge. You just wouldn't. You would not have enough to do this in addition to all the other gated challenges coming up ahead. Once you pay the clam, pick up the watermelon and throw it at the button in order to start the challenge, or it's basically just a simple little platform challenge with trampolines. You have to bounce across them all as you make your way across the moat. Watching out for the dragons, yes, you heard that correctly, dragons, that are hovering in the water that are going to occasionally blast fire in your direction. Fortunately, it's pretty clear whenever they're about to do it, their breath gets a lot heavier. As you can see, it builds a little bit. Like, it goes from a small cloud to a big cloud to a burst of fire. So it's always pretty clear when they're about to try to flame through you to death. So you have plenty of time to react, so just make sure you keep jumping over them, moving between the platforms, and you can you'll eventually get to this island where your reward will be waiting for you in the form of a golden spatula. Alright, and that is going to be the last time we play as Patrick for the rest of this episode. Please, did my... Okay, I thought my console crashed for a second. I thought it froze up. That would have been unfortunate. Unfortunately, it appears that it did not freeze up, and I did not mean to bounce myself back, but that's what happened. Yeah, so you don't actually have to jump back across the moat if you don't want to. You can alternatively just go to the pause menu and then warp your way back by taking the taxi to the over the moat spatula. But I figured I'd show you the way to get back, which is the same way we came here, by just bouncing across all the trampolines and the rafts along the way, and making sure you don't get hit by any of the fire along the process. And now we've arrived safely back to the main island, and we can switch back to Spongebob at the bus stop that you'll find right over here, because as you may recall, we still haven't completed the Save the Children quest. There's still 2 more kids floating out over the water that need to be rescued. So let's go ahead and switch back to Spongebob so we can regain our bubble bashing abilities and complete that quest so that we can move on with the rest of the level over by the sandcastle. Alright, so you see the one kid floating over to the right and one kid floating over to the left. So we're going to take care of this guy first, because obviously we're going to go in a counterclockwise motion here. I appear to be horrendously missing this monsoon. Let's try this again. There we go. That's not like what we had in mind the first time. Okay, looks like we missed the good cycle. Oh, no, we got the good cycle. We got the good cycle. But I was a bit too late. Okay, that was the good cycle because he turned right onto the platform immediately. But unfortunately, we missed the timing for the good cycle. Now we have to probably wait a little bit before he comes back again. He's going to come back to the platform, and there we go. Okay. Yeah, so there's 2 different cycles he can take here. Sometimes he'll float around over near that platform. Sometimes he'll float around near this platform. He's got to watch where he's going and then try to like see which platform he's moving towards, and then bubble bash underneath him to get him down safely. And by safely, I mean dropping him into the water to drown, apparently. So yeah, we're really saving the kids here by drowning them in the water by popping their balloons. Okay, looks like we missed a good cycle there. Looks like he was just about to turn onto that platform, but it looks like he might be coming for this one. Yep, coming right for this platform. Nice. Okay. So again, it's just about trying to read where they're going to go, and then being on the correct platform to actually properly cut them off like this. And then that is all 5 kids rescued, so we can hop back across these platforms, grab a purple shiny object along the way, and go ahead and jump back to shore, courtesy of this little platform right here we can activate with the Bubble Bash. Let's go collect our reward from Mrs. Puff.
My hero! You've saved the children. Here's a golden spatula as a reward.
Now we can take our reward, and then we'll be able to move on with the rest of Goo Lagoon. We only have one more section to get through for the rest of this video, which is going to be, of course, the sandcastle you may have seen in the distance right over there. But first we have to actually get back to where we were, so I will go ahead and backtrack to the level really quickly. And I'll see you guys when we make it back over there. Alright, now that we're back here, previously we went to the left in order to save the kids. This time we're going to go to the right and bounce off this guy's belly, and jump across these platforms again, watching out for when the cloud of flames turns a little bit bigger, so you know exactly when he's about to do the flamethrower. Jump past them all, take out this monsoon along the way, so that he doesn't cause us any problems. Now, we have a very tricky sock to get. We have a very limited amount of time to get this. What you have to do is bubble bash this tiki directly above us, then quickly jump up above the rest of the tikis that are going to form a staircase. And the reason that it's timed is because one of the tikis you have to land on or step on to get up further is a thunder tiki you can see up there. So, the second you hit the thunder tiki, the clock starts. You have to quickly jump on top of all the stone tikis, and then jump from there on top of the sandcastle in order to get the sock waiting for you on top. So let's do this really quickly. Bubble bash it down, jump on the thunder tiki, and then quickly make your way up to the top. And then double jump and spin your way up on top of the sandcastle right here. Collect your sock, and then we can drop on down and talk to Bubble Buddy.
SpongeBob, I heard that you were collecting golden spatulas.
Yes, Bubble Buddy, I am. Have you seen one?
Why, yes. We were having a sandcastle contest, and somebody put a golden spatula on the top.
If I had a castle, I'd name it Fort Pattytown III. And Fort Pattytown III would have a big bake sale every Monday.
The golden spatula?
Oh, at the top of the sandcastle, right. That should be easy to reach.
Well, perhaps you should see for yourself.
So the reason the Bubble Buddy says that is because once you break your way through these tikis and hit the button, it looks pretty simple at first glance, except for that dragon that's kind of shooting flames out of his mouth. But, you know, aside from that, it seems pretty simple, right? Wrong. Because very quickly after you spawn in here, the water's going to start to rise, and it'll get higher and higher until eventually you have nowhere left to run. So you got to basically just make your way through this section as quickly as you possibly can, so that you can stay high above the water so it doesn't get the chance to drown you. And once you make it over here, you're pretty much safe because the water's not going to go this high. So now all you got to do is just jump across these platforms. They will sink under your weight, so you got to make sure you don't stand on them for too long, or else you will fall into the water below you. And yeah, as you can see over here, once I make it across these gaps, I'll actually show you. Also, make sure to defeat this hammer guy along the way. As you can see, had we set up any of those platforms, we would have been completely submerged. So that's why you got to make sure you get up here as quickly as you possibly can. Anyway, just keep moving your way across these platforms with a couple of double jumps followed by a spin stall to make sure you extend your momentum. Wait for the flamethrower to stop shooting flames at you so you actually know it's safe to jump across. Then land over here and make sure you destroy the Duplicatotron and, of course, hit the checkpoint so that you don't have to come back up to this point if you fall down, because you may fall down. And if you do, if you don't have the checkpoint, it's going to sting real bad because you're going to have to get back all the way up to this point. Now, this is a pain. This cannon's going to keep shooting beach balls at you, so you want to make sure you keep an eye out for where actually it's shooting so you don't get hit by any of them. Then destroy this monsoon so it can't shock you off the ledge. Then quickly make your way over to the cannon because you'll see the cannon only really shoots in one general direction. So once you're near it, it can't shoot you. It can't turn to actually to hit you. But of course, we're not out of the danger zone just yet because there's another cannon over there that's shooting even more beach balls at you. So if you feel like you're going to get hit by one of them, you can always duck down into this little area between the two hills of the section of the tower so that you don't get hit by any of the beach balls. And once you think it's safe to run, make a break for these little intermission or these little pause sections so that you can safely walk across the ledge and hit the cannon, because as I said previously, it can only fire in one general direction. So once you make it past that little section of the tower over there, then you'll be safe to head over here and destroy the cannon with one hit. Next, we can go up here, defeat this little hammer that's guarding the golden spatula. Not that that'll be that big of a deal. And then the golden spatula will be ours to collect. And with that, we have made it to the top of the sandcastle, but we're not actually done with this episode just yet, because I am going to end the episode here before we go into the sea caves, because the sea caves is going to be the next major area of Goo Lagoon. But there is still one more thing, or a couple more things I should say, that I want to do. We got a couple socks to collect. So the first sock you want to get is you want to do two high jumps, as in like holding the A button down and not just tapping it like this. And make sure you extend the time between the button presses as much as possible, like I've been telling you previously. And of course, spin stall at the end, just like this, to make it onto this trampoline. Bounce your way, or awning rather. Bounce your way up to the top, grab a sock, sell the thunder tikis, and then quickly jump off. Land on the side of this awning, so that you can actually stop moving. So if you land on the side of it like this, instead of on the awning itself, you will stop moving, you won't bounce. And what you want to do from here is we're going to jump once, let ourselves fall below the awning, and then jump again, and turn around so that we can land on that platform. The goal is to land on that platform down there. So jump, turn around, jump again, and land on the ledge. Kind of like this. And then we can grab our sock. That jump's a little tricky to get, but you'll get the hang of it. Just try to watch me do it and like watch when I fall, when I turn, when I jump, and then you'll have a good idea of when to actually pull it off. So from here, what you want to do is just drown. It's pretty simple, just drown, because of the checkpoint, it'll warp you right back up to the top of the castle. And now we can just move on with the rest of Goo Lagoon. Well, at least we're going to do that tomorrow, because for now, that will be it for this episode. We've made good progress today. We've made it through almost the entirety, or we're about halfway through Goo Lagoon. So tomorrow we're going to be tackling the second half, which consists of the caves and the little bonus area you can see out there in the distance, which will then conclude with us looping back around, head out to that island over there, and we can complete the Connect the Towers quest. So that'll be it for now. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next episode tomorrow for some more Goo Lagoon, for some more SpongeBob Squarepants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Goodbye!